Today's topic are the best new or changed items for mages in Season 4. That means items that haven't changed at all are not included in this, but only the really good changed ones and the new ones are in here. Before we get started, this may not be the only video today. I was originally planning on doing a best items for all gods video, best items for Season 4, but then I realized it's way too many, so I have to split it up by the different roles. We're starting with mages, but I might try and get another one finished today as well, which would upload later then. I tried to make this collection as complete as possible, but sometimes some numbers may have slipped under the table simply due to the fact that not everything is available in the patch notes and sometimes things have been changed that I can't really see, so please forgive me if some things don't end up being 100% accurate. I tried my best to sort it out as best as possible and give you the full item overview as well with all the stats available. With that said, let's look into the best new items or changed items for mages in Season 4. The first one is a starter, Sands of Time. This item costs 800 gold, has 20 magical power, 5 MP5, 10% cooldown reduction, and a passive that grants you 1.5 MP5 per 10% of your missing mana. So this is a bit of a hybrid item, gives you a decent amount of power, a lot of MP5 overall, and some cooldown reduction. This is maybe more of a niche start because I'm not seeing every mage making good use of this, but those who make great use of CDR can use this item very well. There are two starter items that were already in the game before, one of them being Vampiric Shroud. This only sees a minor change to its lifesteal, so nothing major there, but the item still remains relevant. Soulstone, on the other hand, loses a bit of its MP5 or gains it. It's kind of a weird spot. This is one of the things we have to find out on live. The overall effect in regards to damage is changed as such that the effect lasts for 3 seconds after using an ability now, so you have the extra power for longer, but at the same time the MP5 was removed and originally the item gave you some mana for using up to 5 stacks, but then that was somehow removed and now it's unclear if there's any sort of MP5 on the item left. If not, then it will still be very powerful, or rather more powerful than before, but you will have to look for other start or early options that give you some MP5 in combination with it. With this, we are leaving the starter items and look into the tier 3 items. The first one is Pythagorean's Piece. Pythagorean's Piece has seen quite a few changes on the PTS. The current form costs 2,300 gold, has 40 magical power, 12% lifesteal, 10% cooldown reduction, 200 mana, and an aura that gives allies within 70 units 12 magical lifesteal, 12% magical lifesteal, and 30 magical power, also including yourself, or 10% physical lifesteal and 20 physical power. This is great because it really benefits anyone who is surrounding you. Even if the stats in themselves are not that great anymore, the power is only 70 now, which is not the greatest value. The stats are still alright and the aura really makes up for that, and I think it's still a great mage item. An item that was completely overhauled is Divine Ruin. Divine Ruin costs 2,400 gold, has 80 magical power, 10 magical penetration, and the passive is 40% healing reduction and regeneration reduction for 8 seconds. So overall, Divine Ruin now in a new tree, no longer providing you with lifesteal and penetration instead. Still the best choice for mages for anti-heal and has much of a better place in builds now. With the flight penetration, it can be picked up early into healing comps and that really makes it worth it more than before in my opinion. Much better place overall for this item, really good pickup. In that context, it's also important to note that a lot of the healing will now happen in combat, so anti-heal items are a lot more effective than they were in the previous season, so that really makes Divine Ruin stand apart. Next item is Stone of Fel, a new item. This item costs 2,900 gold, has 70 magical power, 40 magical protection, and 10% cooldown reduction. The stats overall for that price are really low, keep that in mind. The passive, however, is interesting. Anytime you would be dealt more than 30% of your max health by a single magical ability, that ability is instead reduced to deal exactly 30% of your max health. This effect can only occur once every 60 seconds. What this means is that this item is great against high burst abilities. For example, Kukulkan ult, Isis ult, Janus ult, Toth ult, you name it. Anything like that is really countered by this item. You sacrifice a fair bit in order to get this effect, but at the same time the effect is really strong. I am not 100% sure how this item works against certain abilities with ticks, for example Anubis ult. I don't think it procs there, which should make it a little weaker in certain situations. This is really something you should only pick up when you feel like you're gonna get bursted by a particular mage over and over in late game as a mage. The next item is Chronos Pendant. Chronos Pendant sees an overhaul that makes this item extremely strong late game, but a lot weaker early game. It now costs 2,900 gold, it has 60 magical power, 25 MP5, 20% cooldown reduction. It also has a new passive. Every 10 seconds the pendant activates, subtracting 1 second from all abilities currently on cooldown. So first of all, it has a really high price now, so don't buy it early, don't buy it second in your build. It's gonna be a terrible early game item. But when you reach late game and you want to hit that CDR cap and you buy this item and you hit the CDR cap, then you basically go past 40% cooldown reduction. With the passive, almost every ult basically has a 50% cooldown reduction because every 10 seconds, 1 second is removed from the cooldown. If you can time the abilities in your kit right and you have short cooldown abilities like Haboa 1 or something like that, then you can get 2 abilities off very quickly after each other as well. So there's great potential in this item, great outplay potential especially, if you pick it up when you already have a lot of cooldown reduction, and it should be treated as such. Don't build it too early, but keep in mind how much it can do for you late game. The next item is another one that shifts more from early game towards late game. Telekind's ring now costs 2,800 gold, so also quite expensive. It has 80 magical power and 20% attack speed. It has a new passive though. Successfully hitting enemies or structures with basic attacks gives you a buff of a 10 magical power. This buff stacks up to 5 times and lasts 5 seconds. What this means is that you can go up to 130 magical power while still having that extra attack speed as well. And as it works against enemies and structures, you will be able to stack it quite often. This allows more ability focused mages to still have an attack speed item in their build if they kinda are able to use both. The prime example in my opinion here would be Sol, simply because it works in synergy with her passive. Now, attack speed mages are not necessarily in the best place with the exception of Freya, but this item will still be very strong and may even allow some mages that are usually not that much in that niche to go more attack speed focused. For example, Poseidon, who still needs a lot of power, but who can also make use of attack speed. With that, we're coming down to the rituals, just going over these really quick. There is Flickering Ritual, which is basically Combat Blink, costs 750 gold and allows you to teleport 55 units, and it can be used in combat. It's used up after 1 use, that's the thing with rituals, that's why they are only for late game really, but it's very strong for mages obviously because it gives you a free get off jail card. The other ritual that I could imagine being picked up on mages is Rallying Ritual. This is basically a teleport to gods. You select an ally and after 4 seconds you teleport to them, and this is anywhere on the map, also used up after 1 use, also 750 gold. With these items we're coming down to the question marks. So the items beforehand were those that I think are really strong and should really be implemented into builds and considered for your main builds, whereas the items that are coming now are a bit more, well, where to put them. The first one of them is Book of the Dead. Book of the Dead has 100 magical power, 15% lifesteal and 200 health. The interesting thing here is the passive. If you deal damage to an enemy and are already at max health, you gain a health shield. This shield caps at 20% of your current HP and lasts. Well then, this tooltip is not finished, so we don't actually know if it has a duration or it lasts forever. I think it lasts forever, but well, based on the tooltip, we can't tell. Assuming that it lasts forever, I think this item is interesting. It has high power, lifesteal and health, which is stats-wise, well, it's interesting, but not necessarily that synergistic. Most mages make limited use out of health and lifesteal, so those who can make use of it are those who have to be deep in the fight, so maybe someone like Shang Kui, or those who really have to be in melee range, maybe something like Morrigan or Ao Kuang, or some more, well, tanky focused hybrid mages like Hades, for example. It could be really good for them. It could also be good for normal mages just to prevent getting bursted and getting this as a late game pickup. But I'm really not sure about the potential yet. I have not seen this item to its full effect, so I don't want to say it's really good when I really don't know how it's going to work, because the stats overall are nothing crazy. The 3000 gold price tag also implies that it's not going to be an early game item. Another item that's more of a question mark that was changed is Word of Asclepius. Still 2600 gold, 75 magical power, 250 health, 10% movement speed. Nothing major of the stats here, but the aura has been changed. The healing bonus has been reduced from 25% to 10%, but in combat now it provides 20% additional healing. So basically in combat you have more healing than before, while out of combat you have less. I don't know what this means for the item. I think it's still gonna be decent, but it's something that needs to be tested, and I don't want to judge that beforehand, so this gets another question mark. The last one is its own category, which is was good but isn't. This item was very strong on PTS, and many picked it up there, and maybe you will hear from people that it's still good because they haven't been following the changes for this item. So I want to speak about this one last time and make it clear that it's not good anymore. And this is Ethereal Staff. This item costs 2700 gold, gives you 90 power, 200 health, 20% crowd control reduction. The big deal about this item was the passive, which is 5% of the enemy's health upon using an ability against them, a damaging ability. And that was crazy strong on 12, it basically broke the game. You could just almost one-shot people with this 1 and 3 combined. And well, for a while on PTS everyone picked it up because it was broken. But after the item overperformed so much, an internal cooldown was introduced. In the beginning it was 3 seconds, still making the item way too strong on tankier characters. And now it's 10 seconds. And with that 10-second cooldown, I really don't see much of a benefit in the passive anymore. If you're picking it up to have a combination of some power, some health, and a bit of percentage damage, you can maybe use it on tanks still, but if you want damage, you usually be better off with something like Soul Reaver, which deals true damage on tankier characters, and if you want health, there are usually better other options as well. So if you're just taking it for the stats, it's still alright. If you're taking it for the passive, it is no longer worth it. And that's it for the mages. Like I said, there might be another video later today, so keep your eyes peeled for that. Thank you guys for watching. I will be doing plenty of Conquest Season 4, items Season 4, everything Season 4 guides throughout the week. So if you're interested in any sort of that, feel free to leave a sub if you haven't yet. Turn on the notifications if you haven't yet, so actually get notified when I upload. And see you for the next one, maybe later or tomorrow. Duke Sloth, out.